Steel has been a very consistent and very meta hero throughout Paragon's existence. Very, very strong a lot of the time. Not too many times when he wasn't. Now, I personally like one concept of him much more than all the others. This rework idea, I'm focusing on that. Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a hero rework idea video. I am Sylphin. So, a few things right off the bat. Steel, well, he's awesome, but a few things off the bat. One, this in no way represents what Unleashed Games is doing. This is just my own personal idea. That is it. Does not represent what Unleashed Games is doing. Two, hero passives are coming back, so we have to extract that from their kit and try to think of something that really works with them, makes them more of what their purpose is, and makes them have a stronger identity. Three, I like the idea of quest mechanics, of something where if you do something fantastic that really accentuates the hero's kit and the hero's purpose, well, you get rewarded, and that nature becomes empowered. Those abilities become empowered. Stuff like that. Now, I believe that hero design has to be really strongly based around a central gameplay theme, a central gameplay niche, and otherwise, because there's no reason to pick that hero, there's no reason to have different heroes if they're all just the same, doing the same thing. So, I personally think that Steel, he's a team fight control, high crowd control, initiator tank. He's a tank who initiates, applies a ton of control. That's pretty much about it. Pretty much about it. So, with that, his stats, he's going to have low damage. He's going to have low damage. You're going to have so much crowd control. His damage is going to have, I mean, it's going to be okay ability damage, okay, but the really, really poor power scaling, so you can't build caster steel and just kind of obliterate people in a couple abilities. Cannot happen. Low damage abilities, especially the scaling, and his basic attack as well. Lower scaling for that. So, his passive, it's what he used to have. Really, it's what he used to have. Steel charges stacks of 20, 40, 60, 80 ability armor every 8, 7, 6, 5 seconds. Up from, I think it was 3 seconds, something like that. A little bit longer of a duration. It was a bit crazy, but there it is. Instances of ability damage, remove 1 stack. He's the initiator. He can't really be bursted down by abilities. Instead, he absorbs it and initiates. That's his thing. So, I kind of liked his shield bash. Really works well with his control nature, high amounts of control. Again, it'll have lower ability damage. Definitely low ability damage scaling. I liked it from the fact that it was consistent crowd control. With that said, I reduced the duration. Instead of 1.2, it's now 1, and increased the cooldown from 6 to 9. So like 6 was crazy fast. So now 9 seconds, something like that. You get the point. Much less frequent stun, but it's consistent. Steel swipes his shield in front of him, dealing damage and stunning an enemy for 0.7, 0.8, 0.9, 1 seconds. Simple, consistent, higher cooldown. There. I've also brought back his shield charge with a cool quest mechanic and a key thing. Steel charges forward 1,000 units, so it's not ranged basic attack. It's farther. You can't just shield charge a huge distance and all of a sudden you're in the middle of the enemy team. You've knocked back a whole bunch of people. No, you have to get close and then use shield charge. Steel charges forward 1,000 units or whatever that needs to be, using his shield to damage and knock up enemies along the way for 1 second. 15, 14, 13, 12 second cooldown, longer than it used to be, so that you use it once and you're done. Steel, he converts his kit your entire, the rest of your team's supposed to, you know, supposed to follow through. Boom. That's what you do. You know, Steel ult into a Gideon ult, into a Grux smash and grab, into, you know, into an Aurora ult. Like that is Steel. That is his entire purpose. And he can't have, he can't keep doing that all the time. He needs to have longer cooldowns so that he does it. And if your team can extract value from it, then so be it. Shield charge. After hitting enemy heroes with shield charge 12 times, somewhere in the mid game, something like that, enemies closer to the end of the charge will be knocked up for longer, to a maximum of 1.5 seconds. So if you're standing right beside somebody and you shield charge into them, they'll be knocked up for 1 second. However, if you can time it, and this adds a skill component to it, if you can time it and hit somebody right at the end, you know, somewhere at the end, then you knock them up for 1.5 seconds. Enemies in between, they get something like 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, 1.4, etc. Targets at the end, 1.5 seconds. Adds a skill component to it, and also one other thing. You always wanted to knock people up at the end of the range anyways, because once you shield charge through them, you preferably want to emerge from the charge close to your enemies, right? To deal your basic attack damage, to shield bash them, body block, etc., etc. So you almost wanted to do that anyways. You're just incentivized to do that more, and you're rewarded for, you know, landing those skills, positioning properly, and timing it appropriately. That is the thinking for that on shield charge. Bulwark. It was always really cool. It was always a really cool, you know, component of Steel. But I liked the deploy that you're seeing right here. I loved the deploy nature much better than his shield, like you're seeing here. It was 2 abilities way back on Legacy, I do believe. So, Steel deploys his energy shield on the ground for 4, 5, 6, 7 seconds, blocking enemy projectiles and slowing enemies by 10, 14, 18, 22% that either touch the shield or damage it for 3 seconds. So they get some kind of like this energy feedback or whatever. So if you use it because the enemy team is engaging or something and they've sent some abilities downrange, you can block them, slow your enemies if they hit it with projectiles, stuff like that, and then counter engage, right? Or you throw it down to protect your team that is engaging, allowing you to engage a little easier. If the enemy team tries to stop you, then boom, they're slowed and then you can go. So I felt like that was a interesting part of the ability to add into it, as it can add a lot to it as well. Plus, when you shield slam, when you ult in, you shield charge, then you can throw your bulwark in the place where enemies want to retreat, which I always felt was a great positional tool for Steel. Much better control than his just blockable shield. You can either block it with your shield by putting the bulwark, you know, right in front of you, basically, or just throw it up. Much more versatile ability that I think, you know, grants some more options and some choices that that suit him much better. 14-second cooldown. Again, you can't just be throwing these out all the time, getting the slow projectile block all the time. You got to put it down, and that's that. Now, his ultimate, it was awesome. In Legacy, it was actually hard to land because the animation was so much longer, and it felt smaller compared to the movement speed, even though, anyways, it was harder to land way back in Legacy, and I like that part of it. So Steel slams down to a target location up to 1,200 units away, knocking up all enemies, dealing damage, and also applying 1.5 to 2.5 seconds stun. Just like it did on Monolith. However, the animation time severely increased. Maybe not so slow as what you're seeing here, because it's kind of a bit slow, but definitely not as fast as what it used to be. It was almost instantaneous. So a nice happy medium between Legacy Shield Slam and Monolith Shield Slam, for sure. 185 70-second cooldown, fairly low just because that's his nature. He's an initiator, you know. Gotta kind of be able to do that a little bit more frequently than a lot of other alts out there. That's Steel. That's my idea for Steel. He is the convert his kit and your team follows up, or they don't. That's that. That is why you pick Steel. You want the wombo combo, control the objective, control the point, high control. You pick Steel. That is what he does. And this requires lower base damage abilities, because again, you can't just convert your kit and instantly obliterate a target. That's not what he's meant for. But he has a ton of control, and he initiates very well. The Shield Slam, much farther. Remember, it used to only be 900 units. Now this is 1200. But you get the point. Basically ranged basic attack range. You can jump that far. It has to be fairly significant, because that's his point. He initiates, again, converts kit. Then that's about it. The wombo combo guy. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think of Steel. He's pretty awesome. He's pretty cool. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think of my personal rework idea. Please like the video, like it, dislike it, guys, and share it with the community. Hit that bell notification icon if you want to be updated on future content, and also let me know what you guys want to see in that future content. Till next time, like always, guys, stay optimistic and positive.